When you create a new body of work, don't just make one or two of them, make 50 of them. The process is going to grow. It's going to be something that you don't know where the adventure takes you. I'm a big believer in fun, and creativity should be fun. It's time for Ed Shed.
That's what he said. That's what he said.
It's time for Ed Shed.
That's what he said. That's what he said.
It's time for Ed Shed.
That's what he said. That's what he
It's
said.
time for Ed Shed. So my name is Ed Derkevics. I'm a poet and writer and a musician and artist. And I started doing art a long time ago, basically in my own house. I grew interested in folk art and I gravitated towards that. And I started basically doing whimsical things such as Love, Peace, and Hippiness, Howling Wolf, things like Pray for Peace or Pablo 44 or The Cat's Meow, like I distort the face on there for fun. Bayou Beast is another one. I do poems about all of these. I do a voodoo line, a whole bunch of voodoo line, because I'm really inspired by New Orleans and the folk artists of the South. I think they're really interesting people, very creative with what they have. They sort of bring in materials from found objects. And that's what I do with my Jonesin series. I'm kind of obsessed with that right now. I'm making at least 50 of them, and they're basically representing the underclass in society. To me, we have a great country, but we have some flaws, and one of the flaws is that we have way too many people in the prison system or living on the streets. We have homeless vets. Why? We could do something better for them. So this is supposed to be draw attention to them, supposed to represent them. I make them out of recycled material, found objects. So I collect a bunch of old objects, discarded objects that people basically throw out to use for my art. Stuff like keys. I use things like old chainsaw chains, regular chains. I use these to symbolize oppression or things like that. Horseshoes. Somebody gave me a whole crate of horseshoes, and I use them sometimes in my voodoo art. Table legs. So I collect stuff that people throw out that I think that may be interested in adding to my art. We're a throwaway society, and I think we should value our merchandise a lot more. Our resources shouldn't be just thrown away. We should reuse and recycle them. And if we have valuable things such as people, we should cultivate good relationships with those people. Jonesin is a state of mind when people think they're trapped in life and they have no way out. So I've been making 50 of them because I was told by a very wise lady, Jan Richardson, a great potter. She said, when you create a new body of work, don't just make one or two of them, make 50 of them. The process is going to grow. You're going to become a better maker of that version of your art, and it's going to be something that you don't know where the adventure takes you. I make it with a lot of recycled art, found materials, rusted items, things that people discard, such as the people in the Jonesin. I feel like we have a lot of discarded people that people don't pay attention to, or if they have flaws, they don't value them anymore in society. And I think we can adjust that in our society. I think we could make better use of our resources, which our biggest resource is the people. I make usually 3 or 4 at the same time. This time I'm making 5 of the same type. And I find stuff like this. This is an old hose handle. And I make stuff like this. And I haven't added the words to it yet. I gotta see what words fit with what it's telling me. And this one's springing ahead, and it's got springs in it, and it just looks like he's ready to get started with a new life, and he's been maybe cooped up or in prison or something like that. So I feel like it's important to give people a second chance. Time to erase the slate. That's what this guy says. So he's looking for a way to erase it and make a new start. So in the Jonesin art, I make a whole variety of different versions of it. I had the first generation, which we showed you before. And now I make little bookmarks with whimsical words. This one says, I want to be sedated right now. Time is on your side. Oil ball number 7, he jumped a fence. And that's like an inside joke. And then I make things like this guy, time to get up. It's just whimsical. But Jonesin, this is another version of Jonesin. It's got the Jonesin face, but I wanted to make it 3D with found objects, but I wanted to make it more fun and show that, it's bright and cheery, because I'm a big believer in fun, and creativity should be fun. So I make it out of, this cat food can and an old Barbie that I found, stuff like that. So Todd and Carolinda at Whimsyland, they have bowling balls. And my son called me up one day and said, "Dad, there's a guy selling bowling pins. He's got a whole crate load of bowling pins, and you're the only guy I could think of that would ever want them. Do you want them?" I said, "Yes." So we took them, and we're painting them right now because I think it's a beautiful color. Plus, it's sort of as a homage to Todd and Carolinda's Whimsy House and SHAMc, Safety Harbor Art Music Center. So I think it's just adds flavor. I'm still in the process, so I think I have 530 of them. I'm a big believer in peace, and give peace the first chance in life. So a whimsical thing that people hang in their yards or in their house to remind them to be nicer to people. So shine your peace light. So I also design and paint clothes. To me, they're colorful ways to explore the joy of life. When you wear a jacket like that, or a shirt that's got spatter paint on it, it brings out the joy in your life. You can't help but be in a good mood when you wear something like that. People get drawn to you and say, "Wow, that's a cool jacket. Where'd you get that?" So, and you're like excited to be alive when you wear it. That's my intention. My poetry, I started about 20 years ago in Ybor. We started going to the place called the Bunker, which was a sort of a draw for all the creatives in the area, and I sort of really was inspired by that. So I started this open mic with a lady named Vera in Oldsmar, and we ran that for about 12 years. When I moved to Safety Harbor, my life just exploded. It was like, what is happening here? Safety Harbor Art and Music Center, I owe a debt of gratitude towards Carolinda, Todd, and Heather, my partner. Their center is like a magnet for creatives. When I started the Safety Harbor Rising Poets open mic there, SHAMc Alive, that was, it was like a magical experience. I work very well with partners. I'm not a person that does too many projects by myself. So I was lucky enough to find Laura Kepner and Ben Leslie and then Walt Belcher. And we formed a bunch of different open mics and things like that that drew more creatives into the area. And I was always drawn to people like the Andy Warhol Factory and Gertrude Stein in Paris during the 1930s and 40s, the salons, which basically a bunch of creatives from a variety of backgrounds came together and sort of inspired each other, and sparks happened. So when COVID hit and SHAMc Alive shut down, the open mic shut down, and all the creative outlets were gone, I kept thinking about a way to bring people together, all my creative friends. How am I going to do this? What can I do? So I thought of an interview program. The first, it was Ed Shed. And the initial thought was that we were going to have an interview program with maybe musicians, a poet, and talk to them about their craft. Maybe they could do a song or two and maybe a poem or two. And it was that way for 1 or 2 shows. And we're up to episode 15 now, and it has morphed and changed into something great. I modeled it kind of in my head from Pee-wee's Playhouse and a thing called Uncle Floyd and shows like that. It's like a variety show, a little zany, a little crazy. It has puppets, comedians, skits, musicians. We've had a magician on there. We've had live painters. And one of the things we do like is puppets. And this is the puppet portal right here. We have a bunch of people, super creative people on the show. I feel really blessed that these people came together and we make this interesting show, and it's sort of morphed into this puppet show kind of thing. And Ben's got this puppet called Speech, and he's a big part of the situation. And then we also have Sweet Potato Shed, which is a mockery on it, kind of. And Sweet Potatoes, this is Sweet Potato, by the way. And she gets so excited that the puppets themselves built this shed to make a little Ed shed. And I'm so excited, so excited, so excited. Sweet Potato's always excited about everything. And then we have Arthur, who Kevin Simler operates. And he's infatuated with Sweet Potato. And then we have Chad, who's kind of a surfer stoner guy that doesn't understand anything and sort of like is lost all the time, and that's Ben Leslie. And we have adventures with that. We have 18 seconds of ironing on it, which is a little skit that we do, and it forces us to create something out of nothing. We bring in haikus, we bring in special guests. A lot of stars from the Tampa Bay area come in and enjoy us for the evening, and the place is growing and it's changing and evolving. I think it's really important to find your tribe. Your tribe could be anybody that's similar to you. When you're with those people, your brain waves go in better ways, your levels of creativity skyrocket. I think there's plenty of opportunities out there for people, and I think you should do that. If you're interested in becoming creative, find people that are like you or that inspire you, and see what they do and try to be part of their world. It's a better way of life. Developing Ed Shed and the SHAMc Alive situation, when you get people together that are similar, it's the peak of existence. It is just the best possible life that you could think of. I really love it. I love the SHAMc, Safety Harbor Art and Music Center creativity, the Ed Shed creativity. I belong to an avant-garde poetry group called Electric Arugula, and that's another creative outlet that I have. I really suggest that if anybody is out there looking for creative outlets, find people or take a class in something that you might be interested in. You'd be surprised. It might not be exactly what you're looking for, but the people in the class or the people that you talk to could inspire you to do something that you never even thought about. So there are plenty of opportunities out there. I suggest Safety Harbor Art and Music Center, Dunedin Fine Arts Center, down in St. Pete, it's the Morean Center for Clay and the Morean Center. But there is plenty of opportunities for people to get involved. If you're looking at home and you're saying, hey, what can I do? You can do this. Just get involved. Get involved. It is fun. Start writing, take a class, become creative. It's the best life you could ever aspire to be. Don't be bored. Get involved. Thank you.
That's good. That's right. Yeah.